Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting, in association with MOSSBERG Firearms. Built rugged, proudly American.
Welcome everyone, I'm Ashley Ward for Ducks Unlimited TV. Our crew has the privilege to hunt several great habitats within the Pacific and Mississippi Flyways in this episode. So off we go to the wild skies and sparkling wetlands of California and Louisiana, right now on DUTV.
We're hunting the Sacramento Valley of California on Mr. Ken Hoffman's place at the Rancho Esquan.
Wow. Mr. Hoffman has a vision that the private industry should provide habitat. Rancho Esquan is really a fabulous habitat in the wintering grounds of the Pacific Flyway. And it has both agricultural crops, mainly rice, and it has moist soil, both seeds and invertebrates.
The thing about Rancho Esquan is it is designed to be hunted, but it is also designed to be a resting area for waterfowl. This is a very special place because it's a prime example of how waterfowl habitat and agriculture can actually coexist. Every tree you see has been hand planted, and the moist soil offers a lot of food source for these ducks, but they also supplement it with mallow. The reason being is this place holds so many ducks. If you plant just moist soil, the ducks will eat it out pretty quickly. So the mallow allows these ducks to have plenty of food through the months of December and January, and it'll keep them healthy for their migration south.
Mr. Hoffman has been extremely kind in providing a location for a meeting of a number of great waterfowl enthusiasts, donors, to come together to talk about the challenges that waterfowl face, solutions that Ducks Unlimited and other partners can put together to help resolve habitat questions. And he has a specific interest in the Pacific Flyway.
Kim's done a heck of a job building this habitat out here. Something really special.
When you look up, I mean, it looks like mosquitoes. That is no joke. The swarms of ducks and the amount of ducks is absolutely hard to believe.
Man, look at that over the clouds. Wow.
There's a teal.
It's just crazy.
We're sitting there just counting the minutes down to shooting hours.
We got this back home though, but it's mosquitoes, not ducks.
We're in a phenomenal spot, tens of thousands of ducks, but I don't care how good your location is, how many ducks you have, if you don't have wind, it can make it tough. No wind causes these ducks basically just to circle around. They're not really having to commit to any direction of approach.
We're sitting in a managed moist soil marsh. Look at that. There are ducks everywhere. Right at light, I mean, thousands of ducks are just flying around right now. We just had some teal land on us.
We found ourselves basically looking directly into the sun, and that was the approach that a lot of these ducks wanted to make. No matter what day you're hunting, every given day is going to be different. And if what you're doing is not working, don't be afraid to get up, move decoys around, adjust your blind. And we decided to go ahead and make a switch. We got out of the pit, went across the water, and actually sat up in the willows. And it worked out great. We were in the shadows, we had a great hide, and it allowed us to take a couple more ducks that we probably wouldn't have been able to get if we stayed in the pit.
Front guy, front. Take them.
The no wind conditions did make it tough for our shots. You really had to stay on the ball because you had no idea where these ducks were going to come from, and most of the time they would basically just approach and you had a split second.
Good shot. Kind of seems like it's slowed down a little bit, plus 10 o'clock is kind of the gentleman's rule around here. You know, let the ducks get back in, so let's go ahead and head in.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Get some brunch and some coffee.
Sounds good.
All right.
Tough hunting conditions, but as far as a waterfowl hunting morning, when you're looking at tens of thousands of ducks, what can you complain about?
Ducks Unlimited Television, presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited, and Ducks Unlimited's Rescue Our Wetlands campaign, banding together for waterfowl.
We had opportunity to go out on Paul Bonderson's place in California
and it's just incredible. The work he's done to build the habitat was just amazing.
Birdhaven and Rancho Esquan are two very special places in the Sacramento Valley. Paul Bonderson and Ken Hoffman, they're two very conservation-minded individuals. And they took these agricultural properties and put them back into waterfowl habitat. As waterfowl hunters, I mean, you've got to be very grateful for individuals like this who care so much about the health of the migration that they turn their properties into waterfowl paradises, to be honest with you. It was a great afternoon, beautiful weather, almost too beautiful. Midday, we had great winds, and we're thinking, man, this afternoon we got strong winds, we're gonna go to a great spot. Old Murphy's Law bit us again. We get out there and the wind just stopped. I mean, there wasn't a breath of wind, so we're faced with the same scenario of we don't have no idea where these ducks are gonna come from. Take them.
There you go.
Nice.
Way it's supposed to be.
That came in beautiful.
Had a baby.
I had a blast on the afternoon hunt. You know, being able to hunt with Doug Fry and Dr. Reed. I mean, when you're hunting beautiful locations, you're seeing ducks, there's really nothing to complain about. So this morning we're hunting with Dan Ray from South Carolina, Rogers Hoyt from Texas, and we're in California duck hunting together. I love how waterfowl hunting can bring people together from all across the country. We're sitting there just counting the minutes down to shooting hours because the ducks are moving and they're wanting to work. As soon as shooting hours hit, we started shooting.
Good shot.
We are having an absolute gorgeous morning, as you can tell. I mean, that sky's on fire. And Dan just made a heck of a shot on a gorgeous pintail. Ducks are flying, beautiful morning. There's not a whole lot more you can ask for.
Right here, right here. One of the things that's always impressed me so much about Rancho Esquan is Mr. Hosselin's management style has incorporated habitat and sustainable agriculture, and it shows that the two aren't mutually exclusive, that they work extremely well together.
There we go.
Oh!
One of my favorite ducks, the Drake Widgeon. Man, I love these little guys. I love the way they come in. I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous and they are unbelievable to eat. Whew, that's awesome. Very cool. Northern California is a place that I don't get to visit very often, but when I do, I love it. It's another reminder of how Ducks Unlimited's efforts reach from West Coast to East Coast, north to south. I want to encourage you to please join Ducks Unlimited, become a donor, become a volunteer, go to your local chapters, go to www.ducks.org and help preserve the legacy of waterfowl hunting for generations to come.
On January 29, 2017, Ducks Unlimited celebrated its 80th anniversary. As with other milestones, this anniversary reminds us to take a moment and reflect on everything we have accomplished together. In 1937, during the Great Depression, one of the worst droughts in history, DU was founded by a small group of sportsmen on a mission to save North America's waterfowl populations. Now, DU is celebrating 8 decades of conservation success due to tireless support from generations of DU members, volunteers, and partners who have championed the organization's critical conservation mission to conserve and restore wetlands and vital habitats. Over the last 80 years, DU has completed more than 100,000 conservation projects and conserved 14 million acres across North America through on-the-ground, science-based conservation work. As we close in on our 100th anniversary in 2037, the conservation issues we face are more complex and challenging than ever. All of our accomplishments, past and future, would not be possible without countless partners, including private landowners, government agencies, corporations, nonprofits, and millions of individuals just like you. I hope you will celebrate with us.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at MOSSYOAKproperties.com. DU TV is powered by MOSSBERG Firearms, built rugged, proudly American. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Kent Cartridge, performance, quality, tradition, biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation. That's Higdon Outdoors. And Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
One of the most enjoyable things for me about waterfowl hunting is the friendship and the relationships that I've built with people around the country through my work with Ducks Unlimited TV and the magazine. And one of those is with the Bolya family of Lafayette, Louisiana.
Right in front. Low.
A number of years ago, I wrote an article that included Mr. Ted Bolya, patriarch of the Bolya family.
Passion of duck hunting is a powerful force. Ted Bolya here, my friend, is a good example. Mr. Ted's 89 years old.
Watch them, they're coming.
89, hunted all his life, still out here, gets up before anybody. So that's what we're here to celebrate. The heritage of duck hunting. Mr. Ted's sons, his grandsons, now his great-grandsons, are passionate waterfowlers and waterfowl conservationists.
Mr. Ted Bolya started hunting in 1937 when he was 10 years old. 1937 was the year that Ducks Unlimited was founded. Probably one of the very few hunters in the country that you could say that about.
Let them come back. Let them come back.
Right in front. There we go.
Back.
All right.
Good shot.
Thank you. Gabwell, gray duck. How are these on the table?
Very good eating. Makes the best gumbo.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I know where we can put him in the pot. I know somebody that would be happy to help you eat that gumbo too.
Selecting the proper dog food for the hunter has been made really easy. There's a lot of good dog food companies out there that do a lot of research. PURINA is one of them. The PURINA Pro Plan is a balanced diet for the sporting dog. You see, dog food is energy. It's what keeps the dog warm in the duck blind. It's what gives that performance retrieve after retrieve. It's also the coat condition, being able to repel water. That comes from the feed, the oils in the feed. We've also proven that the dog feed has a lot to do with the scenting ability, the use of their nose. So the PURINA Pro Plans out there, they want you to know how to use that product. For instance, we recommend floating the feed. If this is your amount of feed that you're going to feed on a given day, put it in and float it. Let it stay in there for a couple of minutes in some good warm water and feed it. Dogs simply do not, especially performance dogs, drink enough water. We want to make sure that the dogs do not get overweight. We want to make sure the body condition stays where we can see the back ribs just slightly. A bloated, fat dog is not going to be able to carry on in the field like one that's in fine athletic condition. The best time of day to feed your dog? That's a common question. Some people like to feed twice a day. I used to do that. I'd get up in the morning and give Deke a little bit of food before we go on the duck hunt. Actually, that's proven to be harmful. They don't want that kibble running around in their gut that can create ulcers. And actually, the dogs don't metabolize that and use that energy till about 12 hours after they eat it. So it's not doing him any good to feed him in the morning. Best time is about 30 minutes to an hour after exercise, the end of the day, or at the end of your travels. Let the dog eat, and he's going to consume that food. It's going to turn into energy tomorrow morning when you're going to need it as the sun comes up in that duck blind.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. DUTV is brought to you by Bush Hog, performance you can count on. Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Buck Gardner Calls, champion of champions, with closed captioning provided by Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited.
When you're shooting a shotgun or when you're teaching somebody to shoot a shotgun, it's really important to determine which is the dominant eye. You know, we're all left-handed or right-handed, but we're all also left-eyed or right-eyed, and shooting on the side of your dominant eye is really, really important in shotgunning if you can do it. The test is pretty simple. You can hold your hands out like this, frame an object in the distance, close one eye, and see if that object stays in that little window you've made with your thumbs, and you've closed your non-dominant eye. When you close your dominant eye, all of a sudden you won't see the object anymore. You can do the same thing with the tip of your finger. Then you know which is your dominant eye. A lot of people, especially a lot of women especially, are cross-dominant. That is left-handed and right-eyed, or left-eyed and right-handed. There's a couple things you can do. With new shooters, I just teach them to shoot on the side of their dominant eye. That's what I did with my older son, and it worked out very, very well for him. If that's not possible, you can block out the non-dominant eye. Take some chapstick, take some tape, color up the lens a little bit. It's just enough to make the other eye take over. And that way, what they see down the gun, that's where the gun is pointing. Now, if you don't want to fool around with the tape or with the chapstick, what you can do if you're cross-dominant is move to the target, and then the last second just wink with that dominant eye. Whatever you decide to do about your dominant eye, it's important that you find out which is your dominant eye. And these tests will help you figure that out.
Duck Gun is presented by MOSSBERG Firearms. Built rugged, proudly American.
First morning, they had told me that they had ducks in the marsh, and that was hard for me to realize because it was like going to be 85 degrees that day.
It's unusual for me to be out here slapping mosquitoes, duck hunting.
We have had an abnormally warm fall, and you just wonder how many ducks are going to come south. Well, guess what? The birds were there. Went out with Zeke Wainwright, a longtime guide at Big Pecan Lodge. I'd hunted with Zeke before, and it was good to see him. He's a great friend.
The marsh that we hunted in this morning is south of 82. It's a brackish marsh. It adjoins Rockefeller Refuge. There's a lot of duck food this year, a lot of Weegian grass, coontail, and that type of stuff. And it was obvious this morning that we had new ducks taking advantage of all the groceries.
Slowed him down, but I didn't drop him.
I had a good time watching Mr. Ted Bowyer during the hunt and seeing his enthusiasm. He would call, he would chuckle so softly at ducks that were 200 or 300 yards out there. I blow like a maniac at ducks even when they're close. But to see him want to participate, and to see the look on his face, the enthusiasm that he had at almost 90 years old for those ducks in that spot, and the memories that he had and the memories that he's building.
Made up my mind this morning, coming back in. I'm looking forward, if I feel as good as I do now, to be shooting for 91.
As long as he wants to continue to go hunting, I'm happy to bring him and have him with me, and we'll do the best we can. I guess one day we'll both fall out the boat, but we're gonna keep going as long as we possibly can.
And it just enthused me even more for the sport, and for his friendship, and for the legacy of waterfowl hunting.
Take him.
That's how to drop ducks, boy. All right, good shot. Right in the front. All right, there we go.
A little better.
That's a little better. We're getting better on these ducks. Good shooting, Mr. Ted.
The whole I get, the better it gets.
When you make 100, you're going to be really a good shot. You know that?
Yeah. I'll take what they give me.
For me, this was the quintessential, archetypical waterfowl hunt of southern Louisiana. In the marsh, with all the traditions. It was a grand experience. It's one that I hope every waterfowl hunter would be fortunate at some time in his life to be able to experience. This should be on your bucket list.
Mr. Ted, this has been a good duck shoot.
Yes, sir. It gets better.
I really appreciate you having me out.
It gets better.
Good to see you again. You're looking great. Shooting
I'm
great.
telling you what. Couldn't be any better.
Well, we got 2 more days to look forward to, too. So.
We're looking forward to it, too.
Thank you for having me.
I think we had a good time today. Wait till tomorrow. Huh?
It never gets tiresome, does it?
No.
Never gets old.
That's what makes you come back.
Hundreds of thousands of DU members support conservation through financial donations. Many also dedicate their time as volunteers. These men, women, and young people make Ducks Unlimited one of the world's most powerful forces for conservation. Thanks for being a part of that, and thanks for watching. See you again soon on DU TV.